Oh, yeah, that had like, yeah, okay. She had one.
Good evening. We'll call together the Lincoln City Council meeting. Today is Thursday, December 28th, 2025, 6 p.m. And if we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Auditor, if we could get the roll call, please. Councilman Bernstein.
Here.
Councilwoman Davis. Here. Councilman Shoemaker.
Here.
And Mayor Bergman. Here. And Mayor Bergman, can I just ask you to repeat the date of the council meeting? December 18th, 2025. First, we have the agenda approval.
I'd like to amend the agenda. I would like to remove number 14 off of the agenda as HR Collab is not ready. They asked us for more time for January or February to be put onto the agenda. And then can I also move number 12 off of new business and add that into Shoemaker's portfolio? And then I would make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
We have a first by Councilwoman Davis. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Shoemaker. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any other discussion? So next we have our consent agenda. Under that we have the 12/4/25 meeting minutes, the October statement, and the December payables. Wishes of council?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
First by Councilwoman Davis. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilwoman or Councilman Bjornstad. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? So moved. Next on the agenda, we have public comment. As a reminder, this is for items on the agenda. Auditor, has there been any contact? Just the email. All right, we do have one. And I will read that. This is from Shelley Lansford, dated today, Thursday, December 18th. Dear Mayor and members of City Council, thank you for your continued work to ensure public safety and effective winter operations. I am writing on behalf of residents of the Heinshawn Addition to respectfully request an amendment to the snow emergency route ordinance to restore the full designation of Dolan Drive, including the short segment west of Wallace Drive. The west end of Dolan Drive is not a typical dead-end street. Unlike sheltered cul-de-sacs, it is directly exposed to open undeveloped fields, resulting in increased wind-driven snow, drifting, and rapid reaccumulation. These conditions have already contributed to documented roadway damage, including cracking, surface deterioration, and the need for recent repairs. Continued exclusion from emergency routing increases the likelihood of further damage and higher long-term maintenance costs. It is also important to note that the full length of Dolan Drive was previously designated as a snow emergency route with no reported operational or safety concerns. Restoring the original designation would improve consistency and better reflect the environmental realities of this street. From an operational standpoint, this amendment would not negatively affect the efficiency of the Public Works Department. The segment in question is short, already within existing plow patterns, and would not require additional staffing, equipment, or budget. Given the Public Works Department's demonstrated ability to clear the city efficiently during snow events, as the Public Works Director noted at the last meeting, extending designation to fully include Dolan Drive would not cause significant delay. Fairness in policy does not require identical treatment of all streets, but appropriate treatment based on the objective conditions that currently exist. Single access dependency, documented drift exposure, and documented roadway damage. Pine Shot Addition residents are simply requesting a practical, safety-based adjustment that aligns policy with real-world conditions. If there are still questions or uncertainty about whether the west end of Dolan Drive truly experiences different conditions, I would encourage council members to visit the area during or immediately after a snow event. Seeing firsthand how snow drifts and accumulations in this open, exposed area provides important context that can't always be captured on a map or in a discussion. We respectfully ask that the council to consider this safety and maintenance-driven amendment and restore full snow emergency coverage to Dolan Drive. Thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration. Respectfully, residents of the Hutchison Addition. Second call for public hearing. And third and final call. Seeing hearing none, we will move on to old business. Item number 7, City of Lincoln project updates. And is the, if you'd like to come up while we check for Loretta. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Carla Olson from Apex Engineering.
Yeah, thank you. I won't take much of your time, but I just wanted to give you an update on the wastewater treatments, where we're at. I know it's a big, important project, and I just want to keep you guys informed. We've been discussing with the North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality, just wanted to make sure where everything's at, both the Water Quality Division, because you will have a new discharge permit, a continuous discharge from a mechanical plant, which is different than a controlled discharge from a pond. So that there will be changes and likely new limits, and just wanted to know up front what those might be. And then also with the Municipal Facilities Department, and they're the ones that will technically review the plans and specs and approve those for ultimate construction. So it does sound like there needs to be a facility plan amendment done. I wasn't sure what had all been submitted in the past, but they would look to that now that you're building your own mechanical plant, because I think the old report didn't cover that. So we'll be submitting that just to make sure everything's on track for funding, which is most important. We want you to be in line to get that funding. So the other thing we've been working on is updating the manufacturers with the new design conditions that were redone last summer. They didn't have that information, so we're working with them to get an updated cost and proposal on the equipment needs for the project. The other thing we're looking at doing is some site visits to look at similar facilities, just to see before a lot of money spent to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And then finally, one thing I wanted to mention perhaps would be a good idea is to establish maybe a work group with, Public Works and anyone from the council that has an interest in the real-time updates. Council meetings, I'll give as many updates as you want, but it's hard to get into the details and bog down your meeting with those kind of things. So I don't know what kind of interest there is and who would want to be involved in that, but that might be something good to think about and establish, just so that decisions can be made, because we do have a tight schedule to get this constructed because of the funding. So nothing we need to decide tonight, but I thought maybe that would be a nice way to keep everyone informed, keep everyone updated, and keep decisions rolling. So that's all I have, unless you guys have any other questions.
Thank you, council. Questions? None at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah.
And
This is Miss Marshick online. I just wanted to thank Ms. Olson for speaking with regards to updates on the wastewater treatment plant. We have had discussions among staff and about who would be interested of being part of that work group that she mentioned. So as those get scheduled, we will be meeting with the Apex group to move forward with design discussions. Anyone else that has not reached out to us with interest that would like to be part of that, we sure would be open to having you join us. So if you haven't reached out to me, I would appreciate you just giving me a heads up if that's something you'd be interested in. I don't have anything additional to add to that project update. And at this time, that's the only project update engineering has for council, excuse me. Do you have any questions for me at this time?
I don't know.
I am seeing none, Loretta. Thank you and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to everyone there as well.
Merry Christmas.
Next on the agenda, we have the police vehicle take-home policy finalization, Attorney Rodden.
Thank you, Mayor. I think that at the last meeting, council had looked at the proposed amendments to this and wanted me to just take a look from a legal standpoint, whether or not I had any concerns. I don't have any. I reviewed it. I don't see anything that raises any concerns from a legal standpoint or any changes to recommend. So from my standpoint, it's ready to be approved.
Okay, thank you. And so do we have a motion to approve?
I would make a motion to approve the policy 703. As part of the vehicle use.
We have a first by Councilman Bjornstad. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Shoemaker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And so move. Next, we have our emergency snow route. Oh. If we can have a roll call, please.
Councilman Bjornstad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis,
Yes.
and Councilman Shoemaker.
Yes.
Thank you. Emergency snow route, Dolan discussion. In your packets. You should have received that. Commissioner.
When I first heard about this request, my initial concern was modifying the emergency snow route for any other reason than medical or the other emergency. While it could bring about other requests for any other reason other than for emergencies. However, given the communication that was read during public comment, and if you look at the map, that area of our city is rather exposed, especially from the northwest winds, which could bring in substantial drift. Whereas other parts of the city are more protected. So I think it should be considered that information.
Councilman Cummings.
Yeah, Council Mayor, in the previous years, right, I have helped out personally with clearing out the fire hydrants in that area, just because we do get really snowpacked. There are 2 residents down there that aren't always able to clean the mailboxes or the fire hydrants. So I have volunteered multiple times to do so. And I personally have seen the drifts, add up big time down there. I don't see an issue for adding this into the route on that area. And I think it would keep it a little bit more sufficient and just moving forward to where we're not backtracking on that one little area and then moving forward up. So I don't have any problems with adding it into the snow route, and I don't see it causing a conflict or an issue with adding it, since the rest of Dolan is already a snow route.
Councilman Vincent.
For me, I guess my opinion from the last meeting still stands.
Can you speak in your mic, buddy, please?
My opinion
Might not be on.
on,
It's dead.
thank you. My opinion from the last meeting still kind of stands, that at this time is a dead end street. And I feel that it defeats the purpose of an emergency snow route. Because the point of emergency snow route is for allow us to be able to do a smooth path through the city, year out, a main path.
And once that's done, they can go back and clear out any of the non-emergency routes. The plows are also out at that time if an emergency arises that the police department, fire department, ambulance can always contact the public works department and clearing a path to wherever the emergency is. I would be of the opinion that once the end of Dolan is developed and it's no longer a dead end where the plows can still continue an efficient path through the city, at that time, it would make sense to change the snow emergency route. But at this time, I feel that it's appropriate where it is.
Council Bjornsted, I'm gonna be devil's advocate on that last statement. I agree with you, right, on how it's not a developed, it's not a fully developed area yet, which means it is kind of a dead end. However, we don't know when it's gonna be completed or finished or even worked on, as they've already been out there for 3 years now and no other development on that street has happened. So to me, and like Shoemaker, Councilman Shoemaker said, and like we've said previously, they are on the open part of town, extremely open and exposed to all that fun wind and like the winds that we just saw today. I guarantee they got way more impacted than we did. So for me, I think it's just beneficial for the city to add it in. But that's just my take on it.
And it was the director shoot.
The last snowstorms that we've had, I can give you video of how blown in that road was. Our cameras, we have video of going down that road, and I can give you exact footage of how blown in it was. So, if you would like that, I can get that to you. The times that it ever blew in and we had a drift, everyone had drifts. It was 4 feet of snow. We were like, what, an inch away from hitting record breaking that year. That was the only time it's ever really blown in to where there's been a drift across the road, even close. Other than that, the road damage that was down there was not caused from snow. All of the water from the school, from Libby, Lewis, Clark, half those roads, half of McDougal, and then Dolan all the way up to 66. All of that water goes down to the end of that road. The damage that happened at the end of that road was a manhole that was leaking, and there was a crack that happened in that roadway, and the water went in the crack, washed it out, and was leaking into the sewer. It had nothing to do with snow. It was just rain. So it was not snow damage, like what was put into that letter. As far as anything else, I talked with Councilman Shoemaker and he said to get numbers on distances from emergency routes. And I've gotten a bunch of numbers from the furthest distances from any snow emergency route. And from 115 Dolan, where these residents are at, to the emergency route is 394 feet. The furthest distance from a snow emergency route is at 26 Custer to Eccleston Road. And that is 989 feet. And if you would like, I can show you exactly where they are located on the map, because there is no intersecting road to that point. It is where the curves are at on Custer Drive. So there is no connecting road. The closest intersections to that are Eccleston and Penna, I think it is. So that is the furthest one. I did a cul-de-sac on Montgomery Place at 120. That is the house at the very last on Montgomery Place. If you go straight out on that to Haywood and out to Humbert, it's 974 feet to a snow emergency route. So They are a third of what everyone else is to a snow emergency route. And I do get that they are in the open. And the year that they did blow in, we did the following winter, we went and put up snow fence. I got a hold of the developer and asked if we could put snow fence in the empty lots to block the snow from blowing across the roads. And it didn't snow. We didn't get nothing. So all we got was high winds that ripped up the snow fence. So, but as far as anything else, I can get you the footage of us plowing that street and you can see exactly what kind of snow is down there if you would like. But I just figured I'd tell you the facts that I have on that road.
Thank you. Any questions, Director Shu?
I think given the numbers, which are factual numbers, we want to maintain quality and make sure all citizens are treated equally. So, if the citizen is 1,000 feet away from the route and we're formally adjusting our snow route for somebody who's 300 feet, there could be backlash and could create more issues than good. So maybe a possibility of not formally changing the route, but more of a case by case basis. If it is a very bad storm, then Public Works could move that additional footage that they versus formal change. I guess I'm looking at given the numbers that were just presented, are we creating more problems or what would the rest of our citizens say if we're making a change for one small section? And I'm open to evidence of that area being there in northwest point and the winds coming from northwest. I'm open to seeing evidence of they do have bigger trips or greater amounts of snow built up than the rest of the city.
I firsthand definitely have seen it. Does it happen every year? Probably not, but it does happen, and it is a possibility. Again, we're going right straight down Dolan, and for just us to cut off, where there's only two down there, and then to go around, and then to come back and do those two, and then do streets up above, it just seems like it would just work to just add it and go down, then turn around. But, yeah, with their area being lower too, right? Like Director said, they do get a lot of runoff. I've seen video footage of just the summer and it's just pouring down there, right? So if we have a bunch of snow and then we start melting, that causes a lot of impact, right? When if it's just shoveled and plowed, maybe we can alleviate some of that stuff too. I do recall when Public Works had to go back and clear, something broke. I don't know if that was just because if it was too impacted at that time because it was sitting there. I don't know. But if we just catch it when we're doing all the Dolan, I think it would just be suffice, but that's my opinion.
And I think one of the things that you need to consider is if it is not in ordinance and somebody can call and say there's an issue with snow, then we come into the situation where you have other residents and you come in and move ours. We're not in a snow route, but the drifts are pretty high. So, I think that these residents stated their concerns. I think they're valid concerns. This was just a couple of years ago, part of the emergency snow route. So, I don't know what caused those two homes to be removed from that one street, that 400 feet.
I don't believe it was. Dolan was a snow emergency route, but that road never existed when Dolan was.
Council, what are your wishes?
I will make a motion to add the rest of Dolan onto the emergency snow route.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Davis. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Shoemaker. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed?
Aye.
And if we could get the roll call, please.
Birnstead,
No.
Davis,
yes.
and Shoemaker.
Yes.
All right. Next on the agenda is item number 10, the city logo. We have Elizabeth Fleming from the Economic Development Committee.
Do you guys have the logos? I can send them in.
With the one.
So, as you guys know, the original logo that was chosen was already being used. So we did, some work and we had some different designs that were given to us and we had all kinds of comments from cartoonish to looks like a mini golf course. It's too complicated, all of those kind of things. So we came up with this one that it still has some of the original characters, but it's simplified. So it just is, and it looks, one of the other items that we were looking at was seeing this logo in color and in black and white and still recognizing it. So I don't see that you have the black and white copy there, but it still looks just as good in black and white. So that was kind of our goal, was to, make it look good in color, or depending on what your use is, if you're using it on letterhead, whether it's full color, etc. So it's up to you guys if you want to choose it this way, if you want to make some changes. It's clean and clear and gets the point across that it's the city of Lincoln, so.
I really like the logo. I think you guys did a really good job. It was good.
Agree. I also agree that, it's nice and clean, but rather than being overcomplicated, making it a mess for using it on documents and some of that. I would probably say my only question is, would it make a little more sense to use a blue instead of the green, since blue is a little more associated with Lincoln?
We can,
That'd probably be my only thought on
we
it.
can, the colors can be changed. So we just used the, because the original logo kind of had like the land and the sky.
Sure.
We just chose that, so it absolutely can be changed. If you guys would like to see it in that color, we can have it done and sent over.
I'd be interested in that if you can.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay, yeah, we can do that.
All right, other than color. Is there any other recommendation? Comments?
It's great.
Okay, sounds good.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you, thank you. Under new business, number 11, the meters. Director Shu.
So, Mayor, so I had a company stop in and talk to me about some water meters, and they they stopped in a while ago and kind of talked to me about these meters, and they kind of changed some stuff up, so they kind of reached out again about them. Kind of just the gist of them is they're connected to Verizon. So they would be off a cellular instead of having to drive around town to get them. You would basically get them through cell service. And with that, you can, I don't know if you guys have the packets or whatever, but you can read like the meters will tell you, like there's I don't know if you have a book, if you have a booklet.
Just a pamphlet.
Okay, let me see if I can find that pamphlet through it. Okay, perfect. So if you go on like this page here, you got like this screen on there. Like on that screen, you can kind of see that circle graph where it's light blue, dark blue, and red. So like on that, you can see what is used like outside water compared to inside water. And it'll tell you if it's got excessive run, and it will alert the city and the resident. So the residents can get an app on their phone. They can monitor all the water that they're using each day, everything. They can get alarms for excessive run, all of it.
Like a running toilet?
Yes. So nobody will go, like if you go on vacation, which has happened to a couple residents here, and all of a sudden we get a call that they've been using water all month long and their basement's flooded. So they would have gotten a notification, all that, and they could have called someone to go over, check it out, stuff like that. It just basically is easier for us not having to drive around. It's good for the residents because they can see exactly what they're using, when they're using it, how much, what they're using it on, if they're using it in the house or if they're using an excessive amount on their lawns, all of that. And basically, it's just, I was bringing this to you guys to kind of just show you what's out there. I know that this is a just kind of just some information. I know we have to go and kind of talk to a bunch of other places to kind of see what they got and everything, but this is really nice to do because I think it's like, Tammy, I can't remember what it is every year. I think it's like 5 years.
For what?
When you buy the meter, you
Hey,
get
Director
the
Shoup.
price in there. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we did hop on to help clear any of this up. So yeah,
Yes.
the whole goal with the system is to provide transparency to your customers, so that as you're identifying anomalies, like you said, things like leaks and irrigation, you can provide the that data to your residents so that everybody can be on the same page. And with the current system, when you only get one read a month, it puts you in a very reactive stage, where this gives you the opportunity to be much more proactive with regards to the alerts so that, when we're talking about things like leak detection and irrigation, I don't want to say violations, but, people do over irrigate. We can alleviate a lot of that frustration at the end of the month when the bills come out because of the information that we're providing on this regular basis. And the way that we put the program together is that with the purchase of the hardware, that includes 10 years of your connectivity on the cellular network, that includes 10 years of your software access, 10 years of your customer service and support, and 10 years of your homeowner access. And so we don't charge anything additional. You're not going to get, almost 1,700, bills from Verizon every month. All of that is included in our bundle. But like I said, the goal here is to provide that transparency to your customers so that they can have a better understanding for their water, and then again, cut down on unnecessary, work orders for, like you said, a leaky toilet, which those are again, hard ones to come across because they don't happen all the time. And so those are the kind of things that we monitor for. And then you pass all that benefit along to your customer, again, at no additional cost to the city.
Mr. Kosorok, I'm sorry if I
Kasaruk.
Kosorok. I knew I was gonna butcher it. So with an app, do we have to download a separate app, or is that entitled or included in our Verizon app that we may already have?
Yeah, well, it's a separate app that we maintain as the the software provider. So there's kind of two instances of the program. One would be for internal use where you can, log in and see all of the meters, generate the bills, do all that kind of stuff. Run, system-wide water loss analytics. There, obviously we do analyze the single meter, but we have a full system-wide approach as well. And then we have that consumer side of things, which is, a separate app where they can log in and see just their one account. If you had a school district, we could add multiple meters to that. So, it's really easy to use, free to download, free to utilize for your customers.
Perfect, thank you so much.
I have a question for that also. Is this something that would have to be citywide? Or
No,
could individual residents opt to purchase one of the meters and have that installed? in
both.
their-
Yeah, that's kind of the beauty of it, piggybacking off the Verizon network, is it's the most scalable metering system available. You don't have to purchase any additional laptops, receivers, network repeaters, anything like that. And so, if you had a few residents that wanted to get the better granularity, they could opt in. Ultimately, it would be ideal for you all to have it citywide because then you get that access to the system-wide analytics, which is, water produced or purchased versus water measured through the meters, and that gives you, a bunch of information that you can provide to the state that said this is how much we purchased, this is how much we sold, and now you know your water loss numbers. So ideally, yes, it would be great to have them everywhere, but because we're piggybacking off a network that already exists, you can deploy this at whatever kind of rate makes sense for you all.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question. So it's nice that 10 years of the cellular service is included with the purchase of the equipment. But could you tell me at today's rates what that cost would be once that 10 years is up?
Yeah. Yeah. So we do 10 years out of the gate because that reflects the full coverage warranty. So the devices are under 100% warranty for 10 years. And then years 11 through 20, the expected battery life on a side note, real quick, is 21 and a half years. And so years 11 through 20, you would have an option to purchase an additional 10 years. Or at that point, you could go year by year. And that would be $7.50 per meter per year or $75 for an additional 10 years. And then you get yourself back to that position where you don't incur any additional costs.
Okay, thank you.
And Terry, real quick, I'm going to mention the emergency leak alert, which the meters they do two really cool things. They monitor temperature. So if somebody leaves a basement window open or whatever, we can give you an early indication that there could be a potential freeze. And then if there is in fact a freeze, we have a way to near real time alert the homeowner that they have a problem. So, hopefully we can catch something like that within, 60 minutes as opposed to a neighbor calling saying, hey, you got, water running out of your basement windows.
Well, and I know personally, I had heard of both of those instances happening last year. So,
Yeah, and the one other last part about this is the devices that we are proposing to you all are compatible with the existing water meters that are in place now, which means that, as Terry and his crew put them in, essentially, they don't have to worry about meters leaking into people's basements. They don't have to worry about shutting people's water off. It's literally a swap of the meter register, which is essentially the odometer that tracks the overall consumption. And now you're calling in to the office the next morning, essentially, with that granularity that provides you the leak detection, irrigation monitoring that we've talked about.
I have two more questions for you. Do you have access in case of like an emergency and you can't get a hold of somebody? Do you have access to shut something off or no?
Almost.
Almost. Okay, and then my second one then, you said devices have a warranty of 10 years, right?
Yep.
If something were to happen, then do you service them as well, or do you have to outsource them?
So normally a maintenance would be kind of your routine maintenance that you deal with now. We provide the hardware at no additional cost. But it's not, our failure rate right now is very, very minimal. And so when I say minimal, I mean, less than 0.5% over the course of that time frame. And so the maintenance is, like I said, very minimal. We don't actually, come and do the work, which like I said, that would kind of fall back on Terry and his guys, but we don't expect that to be very much. So hopefully that helps.
All right, thank you.
and your answer was almost that you could shut those off. Could you expound on that, please?
Yeah, the automatic shutoff meter is a little tricky because how do you differentiate between an irrigation event and a pipe burst? Because they generally run around the same flow rate. And so we don't want to inadvertently shut somebody's water off because they ran the sprinklers for a longer period of time. And
Understood.
so that's where the beauty of the meter calling in with that emergency transmit to the homeowner, they know what water is being used. They know that that maybe they're filling a pool, maybe they're decided to run the sprinkler system for an extra cycle. It gives them that ability to say, hey, this isn't normal. And if it is normal, then they can ignore the message and go about their day.
One final question then, for the alerts, is that like a text or just like a notification through the app?
You get the option of text, email, a notification banner, or all of the above.
Awesome, thank you.
I would like to see some kind of cost benefit analysis on this project, because in the end, the homeowner realizes the benefit, but are they willing and wish to pay that fee? Because it will be a fee, most likely into water bill. To take into account the save time that Public Works goes around and check on meters, there's cost savings there. The cost of maintaining these meters, and then generate a number per household. And then we can present that to the public and say this is something you're interested in, and kind of get a good feel on what people want.
There are grants out there too for replacing meters also, so. It's not 100% grants, but it is like 50-50 grants. So I mean, we could get up to half of it paid for in grants.
So that can we include an analysis as well? That way we can go to the public and say, here's this device that could be very beneficial and save your basement flooding. It would cost you roughly this much a month. What do you think?
Right.
So.
Yeah. So, and like I was saying, like he was saying too, like this mounts onto our current meter that we have. When we would get a slip from Tammy saying one doesn't work, we would go, this would be just like what we have now. You go out, take that one off, pop this one right onto the meter itself, and Tammy would get these numbers off this one, and then she'd be able to read it in her office until it's done, unless we see about a grant and see how much we would get and how much it would cost and everything, and then we went that route. But basically what it would be is all the existing meters, you would just replace the registers, and then any new builds, how we have the new meters sitting now and we hand those out, we would just buy these and then hand them out, is how it would basically be like that. So
that cost benefit analysis, you'd be
Um,
bringing that back to council.
sure. I can do that.
All right, any other questions for Director Schick?
Not yet.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Great tool, by the way.
All right, so next, under new business, is item number 12, the open meeting laws. No, I'm sorry. Yes, fine.
Madam Mayor, I think that's listed for me, but I don't know, Councilman Armstead, do you want to talk about this at all, or?
I can, I was reached out to, regarding concerns about open meeting laws and possible violations. And the primary example, I will use that I wasn't aware of at the time. While we know that if a quorum exists, that it has to be, publicized and everything with open meeting laws. What I wasn't aware of, and I'm guessing other members of the council weren't aware either. The example that was being used was, say I call Councilmember Shoemaker and we discuss a particular topic. We finish our conversation. I give a call to Councilmember Davis. I discuss that same topic. It doesn't all have to be at the same time, but the fact that a forum of us discuss that same topic does qualify as needing to follow the open meeting laws. And I think this person's main concern was just to make sure that this is cleared up going forward, that this violation doesn't happen in the future. And I think that was it. Basically, I was looking for some confirmation with the attorney if that is correct, based off of what I read with open meetings. Open up here real quick. The Attorney General's open meetings manual. If you'd like, I can read the exact section. It's pretty short here, but discussing what gatherings are covered. It says less than a quorum of members of a governing body of a public entity regarding public business. If the members attending one or more of the smaller gatherings collectively constitute a quorum, and if the members hold the gathering for the purpose of avoiding the requirements of this section. So basically, it doesn't all have to be at the same time in one meeting. If a topic is discussed at separate times with different council members, it does still qualify as needing to follow the open meeting requirements. I think that was kind of the main thing. And did you have anything?
No, I think you have that about right. So there is a little bit of a gray area as to what is allowed. So the way this comes up is both when there are communications between a quorum of the council. So like once in a while, you'll see that I'll send out the information to all of you. And then usually I include at the end of the email, please be mindful, do not hit reply all, right? So the act of sharing information to a quorum of the council all at the same time does not invoke the open meetings requirement. Having communications amongst the council, a quorum of the council as to, are you available for a special meeting at Tuesday at 5, or I'd like to put this on the agenda, or is this ready to be on the agenda, which is kind of procedural things, does not invoke. When the council communicates in person by email, text message, either gathering information or disseminating information, because gathering information is also considered something that needs to be done in a public meeting. Then you're getting into the realm of an open meeting, and then the meeting should be noticed. I think at times these rules become somewhat, where the line exactly is becomes a little bit difficult, because they're in a city like Lincoln, all of you are so hands-on, right? And so at any given moment, you're dealing with trying to do substantive things, make substantive decisions with staff in the city and getting input. And so you should err on the side of doing it in a meeting. To the extent that you have these communications that are outside of a meeting, then the solution, right? So if you read the Attorney General's opinion, when organizations have violated this provision, the remedy is to just put on the record whatever the discussion is, so that the public can see it. So I think that generally is well. You can also run afoul of the open meetings law by what you were saying, which is a rolling quorum, right? Where like I could run afoul of this. Like I could call Councilman Shoemaker and say, we have this legal issue, what do you think? And then I could call Councilman Davis and say, we've got this legal issue, what do you think? And I could get input from all of you one by one, and that would be considered to be a rolling quorum, and that would potentially also be a violation. So I mean, I think the context that this came up in was with the auditor announcing her resignation, and the mayor trying to figure out how to fill that position. And it's a little more complicated in that context, because under the ordinances, the mayor has an appointment power. And so how the mayor exercises that appointment power is not public. It's not a public decision. It's the mayor's discretion. So again, who the mayor talks to about how to exercise the power that's been granted to her by ordinance also complicates. So what I could say is that there's a point where you're clearly violating the open meetings law, and there's a place where you're clearly not violating the open meetings law. And then there's some spot in the middle that was not always clear to me how to apply the law, and it becomes very, very fact specific. When you're in that middle area, if somebody has concerns, the resolution of that is just simply to put on the record whatever that discussion is. And again, to try to err on the side of having discussions here at the council. I don't know if that answers.
I guess for me, I believe it does. I can reach out to the person that brought this up and see if this discussion satisfies what they were looking for, or if they're looking for anything beyond this.
Well, I would like to address it.
Okay.
Okay, so, I want to clarify the context and the intent of my communication with Council President Davis and Vice President Bjornstad was to ensure transparency and alignment of North Dakota open meeting laws, North Dakota Century Code, Chapter 44-04. I initially contacted the City Attorney Rogneby to confirm posting and procedure requirements that related to the city auditor position, as the appointment authority rests with the mayor's position. Following that inquiry, I shared my preliminary thought process with council president and vice president in their roles as council leadership. Those communications were informational in nature and intended to provide context rather than a potential administrative transition and continuity planning. No votes were requested, no decisions were sought, and no direction or consensus of the governing body was discussed or attempted. And because the city auditor is a mayoral appointment, the discussion did not involve council action or deliberation towards a decision that would require a noticed meeting under North Dakota open meeting laws. I in no way attempted to circumvent public process. The discussion did not involve council action. And any decisions that would require notification would have happened at this table. Sharing of this information not only aligned with open meeting laws, but also acknowledged and valued the input of council leadership. Under North Dakota open meeting laws, that was already discussed a little bit. It occurs when a majority of the governing body gathers to deliberate or take action. And that's 44-04-19. Communications that are informational, advisory, or procedural are not considered a meeting, even if shared with more than one council member. Provided no forum involved, no deliberation towards the decision. And that is 44-04-19.1. I have also emailed the auditor and the attorney after that phone call was made. The email was titled Record of Mayoral Call, Auditor Vacancy Discussion, where I summarized the conversation and acknowledged any action requiring council approval would be handled in a properly noticed public meeting. In that email, it states on November 25th, 2025, I contacted Council President Davis and Vice President Bjornstad to discuss operational continuity following the resignation of Auditor Wilson. The conversation focused solely on administrative planning, personnel options, and long-term structure of city administration. No votes were taken or solicited, no consensus or commitment from council members was requested. This communication is conducted in accordance with North Dakota Century Code 44-04-19 through 44-04-21 and consistent with guidance from North Dakota Attorney General regarding one-on-one discussions and avoidance of serial meetings. Any action requiring council approval will be handled in a properly noticed public meeting. To summarize, the purpose was to discuss operational continuity, to review options for staffing and long-term administrative structure, including the possibility of utilizing prior city auditor Ani, and to obtain background input from council leadership regarding the administrative planning. Respectfully, Kelly Berglund, Mayor, City of Lincoln. Okay.
I have a question. For this specific instance, will having a city manager have that additional degree of separation and help with a situation such as this?
Actually, with the city manager, I had also talked with our attorney. We do have in ordinance that we do have an auditor. And it is a requirement, that would probably best be addressed by having it as city manager / auditor. That way we take care of our bonding and the auditor signs all the documents and contracts along with the mayor. So that was one of the things that the council would have to make that decision. But my understanding is that that is an efficient way or a way to address those situations.
Okay, thank you.
Questions? Comment? Comments? Anything else?
I don't.
Either would you like to?
Nothing for me.
As we address it. Councilwoman Davis, is there anything I overlooked from the conversation?
Nothing you left out, and it went exactly how you said.
No. And I appreciate your input in that conversation and also Councilman Dunstead. All right, we will carry on with item number 13, job descriptions for city manager and finance director, deputy auditor.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Have you guys had a chance to look over at the created job descriptions and see any edits or changes that you would like to see or moved around? I basically did the best to kind of add what the new correlation between the city manager would be between the council department heads. And then took the current city auditor position and divided those up between which would be considered financial versus more of contracts and engineering attorney as goals and future planning.
Yes, there were two things that I did. The first one on the city manager job description, just on that back contacts section, there was a typo. In the second line of that, it says representatives of other government and agencies.
Other,
The old English.
right?
Um,
That's my Ers getting excited, I guess.
And then the only other thing I noted was in the separation of the duties that you had, where you had them color coded.
The ones that are not color coded are for both. That's what you're wondering.
No.
Okay.
So in the one section, it's on the third page. The city auditor shall prepare and submit to the governing body of the city report as follows.
Mhm.
And that talks about the monthly financial statement and the annual financial statement.
Mhm.
I was just wondering if that would be a little more appropriate for the finance director rather than city manager.
I guess that's gonna be on what you guys prefer. Like I can give my report to the city manager and they can present it kind of like a department head to portfolio holder kind of concept. Or I can present it for, if you guys are gonna have further questions, that would be more helpful for me to present than the manager.
One of the things that I had shared was as we go through this, I think it's very important to have the input of the incoming city manager as far as finalizing how some of these job descriptions go. There may be things that this individual has experience navigating that might fall better under one area versus the other. So the job description, absolutely for us to have a general idea of what we're looking at, but maybe finalizing that, some of those duties, we'll just say, manages council meetings instead of manage, and that would be then with those agenda and minutes. Or maybe attends those council meetings, but has the direction to delegate the agenda and typing of those minutes to other staff. I don't know what that's going to look like. Negotiating and managing those contracts, I was uncertain if that was something to be more of a review of the contracts before they come to council.
I would assume so, same thing, same standard, they're gonna set up the contracts, do the, back and forth and present whatever it is that needs to be presented.
I like how it is written and set up. It's really good. Well laid out.
With respect to what Councilman Bajornsted brought about the financial report, what I've been stated, the financial director reports to the city manager, then the city manager then reports to the governing body to add additional oversight to our local finances.
And that's what we had kind of talked about, is that I would take, as finance director, take the office and be a department head and then report also to the city manager, just like Director Shoot or Chief Giddings.
I thought that.
And that is highly beneficial to have that separation between the governing body and staff. You have that go-to person on both sides. So I like how this is put together. Do you have a posting?
The city manager job description is for posting. That's how it would be. Obviously I'd make the change to add auditor language, the word, and take off the for posting part.
I like it. I think it's good to go.
And with and we'll be talking a little bit later, we don't have a salary yet for this, but as part of the work that Councilman Shoemaker has been doing on that 7th grade, is to give us an understanding of where to post that. So, do we want to hold off on posting until that time? Because
Councilman Shoemaker, wasn't the final proposal that they sent having a completion date in March tentatively?
They did ask what our timeline was. We can request that we moved up.
Okay.
I'll request that.
So do you want me to put the posting out there and just say it depends on experience, or not put it out there until we have step and grade?
I think we'll wait so that we are not putting the cart before the horse for the city, but that's just my opinion on that one. Because we could give a little basis, I guess, but then again, we really don't want to put something out there and be like, oh, wait, that's not what we're,
And I could see people asking what the pay would be
For
and saying,
yes.
we don't know yet.
You don't
That's probably, yeah.
Councilman Shoemaker, you had or had not had discussion, and you're just going to discuss with them how we can speed up that process?
I have not at this point, but I will reach out to them and see if they looked at that time.
Okay, so maybe hold off until the first of the year, since we have our auditor helping out with quarterlies and those year-end financials. That could give us just a little time.
And I could ask the firm to just focus on this one position first and take care of everything else later. That would probably.
Oh,
That would be great.
wonderful, because that might even be opportunity for us to get it posted just a little bit earlier. So, perfect, all right. Deputy Auditor.
Anything else? Good.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your work on this. City Prosecutor, Chief Giddens?
Madam Mayor, council members, two wonderful people. Great to see you all here tonight. Mine's very short. There should be a packet in there. Really what it has to do with, and I had a chance to talk with Attorney Rugby here just the other day. We've had someone express interest of potentially wanting to take over the city prosecutor position. Patrick Waters from Heartland Law. It just came out of nowhere because we were working with him on a county case out of Oliver County, and working really well with him. And he said, I made the joke. I was like, hey, you want to be our city prosecutor? And he's like, well, is that an option? And I said, well, I don't have any say in it, but I can present it to our council. And the biggest portion of that would have been, you know, he wanted to be here tonight, but he's, I guess, going somewhere where it's not snowing. But he said that he would love to be able to come to a meeting and kind of talk about his experience and what he could or could not do for the city. So that's kind of where I am with it. Started as a, hey, we're working with him on the side. I know Monty had said that that'd be something that you guys would potentially be receptive to for the prosecution portion. So I know that one of the other pieces is that it's potentially a good changeover because we are going to be transitioning to a new city prosecutor through Bogle anyways. And so it might be a good time to potentially look and ask questions. So just wanted to bring this forward to you because he was like, well, how do I go about doing this? I said, if you send me your stuff, I'll put it before the council and let them be aware.
So is this something that we do an RFP?
Well, not, Madam Mayor, so I just to clarify, right, so traditionally, I'm trying to remember when Vogel took over the city attorney position. I think it might have been around 2000, it's many years ago. And how our office has staffed it is we have a kind of a partner level attorney who attends the meetings and does the civil side. And then normally we have one of our younger associates who handles the Class B misdemeanor prosecution, right? So just for reference, the city municipal court only has jurisdiction over Class B misdemeanors within traffic infractions. Anything else is prosecuted, has to be prosecuted by Brooklyn County. So you're talking about the lowest level of offenses, and I think typically court is being once a month. And under our rate structure, what we have right now is we're charging the city $330 an hour for partner level work and $290 an hour for associate level work. And those rates are good through the end of this year. And at some point I'll come with a new proposal. When I took this over, one of the things that I mentioned to the council is that the type of legal sophistication needed to handle the city prosecution work is significantly different than the sophistication of the legal work that is handling the civil side, is the city attorney side. And that, even though we're able to provide the city a break on the hourly rate at $290, it might be possible for the city to get somebody to come in and either bid it as a flat rate or at an hourly rate that is less than $290 an hour. Partly because of law firms have different cost structures that drive their rates. So my thought was, and I shared with the chief, that it might be possible to bid this out or to get a proposal for somebody to do. I mean, you could bid the whole thing out, right? Obviously, we don't have any claim to continuing as your counsel, but at least the prosecution could be broke out. And as I've told some of you, in 1996 or 1997, when I first got into private practice, I was the city prosecutor for the city of Lincoln and came out here once a month and did that. And the city had a different city attorney who handled this work. So from that perspective, I think you could probably handle that through an RFP or whatever contract you want. I would note in looking at Mr. Waters' material is he's looking for a rate of $385 an hour. So that might put him out of depending on if he's flexible on that, that's almost $100 more an hour than what you'd be paying the associate for my firm. But the chief is correct that we do have Gavin Vint has been doing the work since Justin left, and we have a new associate coming sometime in February or March, and the idea is that she would transition into this portfolio as well. So I mean, it's up to you how you do it, but I guess if you're looking at splitting that out, my recommendation would be to do an RFP, because I think you might be able to get somebody to come in and bid it out at a reduced rate.
Perfect. I think RFP bid would be great, and since the contract is up next year, I think that we're just getting good information ahead of time.
That's all I have.
All right.
Thank you.
Chief. So council, what are your thoughts on, do we wait until the beginning of the year? Or when the contract goes out, or would you like to see the RFP and RFP go?
Attorney, can we put RFP bids out before a contract is up for a position?
Yeah, I mean, I don't,
I just
so
don't.
there's two issues, right? One is, can this be RFP for the city prosecution or even all of the city? I think, yeah, I mean, I think that we could do that. I'm not really sure where we are. I think the Vogel firm was on a 1-year contract. I'm not sure where we are in that process, but I don't know that that matters, right? I mean, I'm not gonna hold the city to, like, you can't put an RFP out, but I do think with the prosecution at least, that if you're interested in doing that sooner rather than later makes sense. And again, the idea is to see if we can provide you with this, you know, the same kind of service, but maybe at a reduced rate.
So wishes of council.
Any other suggestions or?
I guess I would be open to us doing an RFP for the prosecution part of the attorneys.
Okay, so is that a motion?
I'll make a motion for a case.
We have a motion by Councilman Yarnstead.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Councilwoman Davis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we could have a roll call, please.
Shoemaker,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Thank you, Chief, for bringing this. Appreciate it and the information.
With the council, would you like me to draft an RFP for this?
You would probably have more legal knowledge of what needs to be required than what we would, so I would be for that.
I think we have in our system some draft RFPs that have been used previously. If you recall, we did an RFP for the indigent defense contract, and so I have some things. I'll draft something, bring it for you.
All right, thank you very much. The next on the agenda, item 15, is the attorney's report.
I don't have anything to add. I know that one of the things that's been kind of a reoccurring issue that we're trying to move forward is the petitions for exclusion. And I don't have any update from the last meeting. So where that sits right now is the petitioner's attorney is trying to organize information as to what the status of plats are and what plat vacations might look like. And I've not had any update from him since last week. So I assume something after the first of the year will.
All right. Thank you. Next, we can cover our portfolios. We can start with the Councilman Bierstead.
I have nothing more at this point.
Councilwoman Davis.
So for office, lots of things are changing, so we're just trying to get caught up with stuff and moving some things around. We do have not necessarily what I want to say. The city is still working with the state on the audit. Just so that people are aware the things are being worked out. But we are just still at some standstill with finishing some of the items. And then we are on a 2-year basis for the audit results, so just keep that in mind. We won't be doing it every year. That's all I have.
May I speak on that? People keep saying, and I've read it 100 times, this audit was done 2 years ago. This audit was finished in the beginning of 2025. And we are working through the items that they wanted. It's not as easy as these people think it is that is out there talking about this. We've been in close contact with them. They gave us other people to reach to help with this. We had an auditor in my office probably a month ago, and he could not help us. So again, they were directing us to somebody else. So now we have been working with our program manager, which is Banyan. We did get some of them accomplished. And I'll be back in touch with the state auditor's office. We also have in our packet, what I'll get to later, is some other items that they have requested that we need to have approved and move forward with those requests.
And just to clarify, the audit, that 23 audit, you got back in 25.
Correct.
Months ago.
22, 23, correct.
Thank you for clarifying that. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if people have questions, they can call the office, they can talk to us, whatever it takes for them to get their answers.
One of the things that I would like, since we have talked about the open meetings, is that if you have, and Attorney Rockaby, correct me if I'm wrong, even responses to Facebook posts, if they are city business, can constitute open meetings. If you have multiple council members posting. And sometimes that can get into the weeds because you have this person commenting, and then maybe in the next post or maybe a week or two later, it comes back again. There's a lot of conversation going back and forth. Now, if there's a question or a comment that, yes, has to do with the city, but not specific, we'll just put whether an office was remodeled, a comment saying that no, nothing was remodeled, versus something about these audits. What's the status? What is the issue with this or that? The findings. If you're addressing that type of information, that's where the city can kind of come into some trouble, because that is on a Facebook post. Those would be better addressed by calling the office or emailing. That would just, not only that, but then you're making sure that you get the information, the correct information from the people that are involved in this day-to-day operations. Is that?
Mayor, too, just like with the online post, right? Sometimes when a post gets put up, they want to tag, right? Or then get in contact with all council members, right? And I have refrained from commenting just because I don't want to put myself in an open meeting online and then give out information and it not be right, or have it being twisted and turned around. So I see myself being tagged, right? And getting asked questions on the online pages of City of Lincoln pages on Facebook. Contact me, call me. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'm not hiding anything and I'm extremely transparent. I just refrain from posting on there or commenting back usually, just because for the city, I don't want to put ourselves in open meeting laws or get ourselves in hot water. Deputy Auditor?
I would like to address this issue as well, as we were taught in many conferences with the League of Cities and all. The attorneys and the people that came in regards to social sites and activities. The only thing you can do is stress to your members, your council members, your mayor. Do not comment, because as soon as you comment, it's not only a meeting, it's an open records. So if somebody comes back and asks us what you commented on about said such, this, that, and the other thing. And I am not one that follows anything y'all do on Facebook and then get a screenshot. I have to keep a record of that. Because if somebody goes onto that site and deletes that thread and your comment disappears, we're required to have record of it because you guys said something. So, I mean, I don't know, keep it on our Lincoln Facebook page if y'all want to comment, because that's archived. And anytime it's edited, it's saved.
And not to put too fine a point on, it, but from an open record standpoint, any communications that you receive, text message, emails, letters, right, regardless of to your personal account, your LinkedIn account, Facebook account, anything, any communication you have with concerning city business is an open record. Harder for us to track, obviously, that's not going through our email system, but just so you understand that there is no privacy when it comes to city business in your communications. So anybody can ask for that, for those communications.
And being that there's pages out there that we do not have, I mean, you guys can make a comment in the middle of the night that's then deleted and we don't have record, but somebody has a screenshot of it, but we don't have it. You put us at risk.
Best practices. Keep the business in the office.
Yeah, Facebook.
First. Yeah.
Social media, we good.
Right. Portfolio?
As far as the portfolio, you'll find your back, the stormwater MS4 audit done by the North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality. And these are results of the audit. And I just wanted to make sure that you all were aware of what's going on. There were some findings and some corrective actions that need to be taking place, but the Public Works Department is working diligently to correct these items. And it's more so documenting and having structural procedures in place, even though they were already completing a lot of the necessary actions that have been done. But in the realm of government agencies, if you don't write it down, they're happy. So they are working hard to get that done, and the due date's January 16th, but we're gonna reach out to the North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality and see if we can extension as well. We are working on it. Just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of what was going on and where it stands.
And we see Director Shu.
Got one thing I just got today, I forgot to mention it to you. The mastic. So I reached out to him. I didn't get it in your packets. I just got it. I can hand this to you guys. You guys can look at it, pass it around and everything. So I reached out to him and he said we can get the winter buy to get it cheaper. But we need to order it, like, we can order it now and he'll bill it for us next year when we have it in the budget, when we made the budget for this to be in it. Because I asked him for that, I said, well, I don't have the money now. We put it in the budget for next year, so can you bill us for it next year, but order it now to get that discount? He said he can do that. And then I also talked to him about the price for renting a machine to do it and everything like that. So he gave me the price of the mastic if we were going to do a full semi-load, a half semi-load, everything like that. You guys want to look at that? That'll cost.
Director, what did we order again last time?
Last time we ordered a full load and a half. So this time we don't need a full load and a half. Yeah, we're doing it ourselves. We are not going to be that quick. They had 2 machines, 2 crews. We are not going to get that much knocked out in.
How much are you thinking to get? Sorry.
Well, I know we budgeted 50,000 for this project to get done. Um. I'm guessing if we did a full load, it doesn't go bad. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's true.
it can sit outside.
That was kind of my thought. We get the best discount with a full load, so.
You do,
Still like 30,000.
Yeah.
31, 36, 36, 43, 50.
yeah, and then this is the price for the machine rental.
Cheaters.
That's per month.
Would you have a ballpark idea how much time you think you guys would be able to put into that?
I have no clue.
I do had a crew, sorry, you go ahead. Oh, I suspect that, one of the factors would be weather,
Yes.
because you would have to rent or reserve the equipment, and have to wait for things to dry if it's a tough time of season,
Mhm.
that June, July.
Well, and we would have a month. So I mean, we would, if we did it, we would do it a month, and then if we needed longer, we would just call them and tell them we needed it longer. Also, and then I just threw it in for giggles. The price of purchasing one, and he's got a brand new one and a low hour rental on there, or low hour buy on there. And then he said if you were to rent that machine, it would either be the low hour rental or a brand new one. If we were to rent it and then we're like, you know what, we can do this, we want to purchase it, they would just take the rental price off and just add it to the bill.
Whatever you have left, right?
Right. Yeah, they're not cheap. They're not giving them away at that price, no. But the thing that works out the best for that machine is you can do mastic and crack sealing with it. So we can tar the roads and do mastic on the roads with that one machine. So you don't have to buy multiple machines for it to do each thing.
So what do you do now with the tarring and tape?
We haven't done anything
For a while?
for that for a while because we have to get the cracks that are too big for tar filled first. And then we need to tar, which is going to be the next process. We have to get that done. And the reasoning for going with the tarring is because it lasts about 5 years. So that would give us time to do the whole town instead of, I looked into the oil that you have to do every year. Because once it contracts and then expands, it breaks. And then you have to redo it the following year. So the rubber will expand and contract with the road until it's just shot. So, or it's worn out. So
Do you think it would be beneficial to rent a machine and then maybe next year looking into getting our own and budgeting for our own? If you like it, I mean, I know you it sounded like we liked it, right?
Well,
After you've seen.
that's kind of where I'm at right now because we are fully staffed. We have 5 guys. I wasn't even thinking about buying it right at this moment because I want to see how it goes. I've never done it. We've never done it. We want to see how it goes first.
Right. Okay.
So,
and you could rent it for 10 years.
well, that was the thing. If we rented it for 8 months, it would be paid off. So, I mean, I just threw it out there for giggles to see how much it would cost
It's good to know
to
though,
buy
right?
one. Yes. So I just threw it out there and was like, just give me a ballpark give me a price on it. And that's what he gave me. So
So if the city were to buy this machine, right?
Mhm.
You can use it then basically for, well, I don't wanna say forever, but for many years to come with tarring, with patching the roads, doing mastic,
Mhm.
you don't have to do anything else. So
Yes.
then what would we have to order again to continue to do that every year?
All we would have to order is the blocks for the mastic, and then you get the same. It basically comes on the same thing for the tarring. It comes in the
Okay,
same little blocks for the tar. So,
good to know.
yeah, that was just the other thing. I just got that from them. I talked to him earlier this week. He said he was going to get it to me the next day, and then he texted me. He was like, "She's gonna get it today," and then I finally got it today. And then talked to Landis, and I forgot all about telling him about it. So I am sorry. I forgot that. So that is all I have.
That might be something that as our streets increase, the number of streets within a new development, or the new areas that
Right.
acres, that might be something to look at.
Mhm.
Are you looking for approval then for the purchase tonight of the material?
Yes, just the material and the rental, just to get that all lined up. So I got it reserved, and the material can get here, and we get the discount for it. So if we can get approval for that, that'd be great.
Well, and you put in your budget that 50,000, less than 47, so that's pretty good estimates.
Yeah.
Do a 1 month rental on it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
No, we
See what
should
we
have
can
that.
get done. So
If we get a full load, that will leave us still some for maybe next time.
Mhm.
Excellent.
yes.
So is there a motion then for the purchase of full, the full load and the rental?
Make a motion to purchase the full semi-load of mastic to realize the bulk cost savings and also to approve the rental for machinery.
We have a first by Councilman Shoemaker. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Second by Councilwoman Davis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. We could get the roll call on, please. Davis,
Yes.
Lindstedt,
Yes.
and Shoemaker.
Yes.
Happy mastic.
Anyone else? Mayor Farquhar? Okay, under mine, I have been having a lot of meetings. Of course, exciting things with MPO. They're working on their, right now we had just approved the 2030 plan. So Lincoln does not have any current projects involved with that. That is specific to Bismarck and Manhattan this time. So, but we do have our 27 and 28 activities with those roundabouts and the lighting up on Yagan and University. So that's mine. Again, we have openings on book committees. One thing I did want to just mention, I have been seeing a lot of things about funding for the wastewater treatment facility. And there are more discussions than simply the special assessment. There may be other avenues, so more information to come. I know Auditor Wilson and I had spoken with and had a meeting with an individual from Colliers specific to funding for our infrastructure or wastewater facilities. So as we get more information and further into the project, we'll be bringing that up. Just so you know, the conversations are being had, but because we don't have the final numbers in front of us, we really can't go forward with getting any specifics on. So, Auditor Wilson.
I have a few things. The first thing I'm gonna mention is I'm gonna remind you all as council members and the public that there is no carrying on business after the meeting has been dismissed. Best thing would be that pack up and leave the building. There can't be any more discussions of city business. And I have put in your guys' policy a couple of different things. Regarding again, the auditor stuff, there is a fraud policy, for the city of Lincoln in there that, would need your approval. There are some fraud risk assessment as an example in there. And then there would be a fraud risk assessment form that the city of Lincoln, would need to fill out. And it is regarding all financial reporting, corruption, all things that have been talked about in the audit. The other thing, regarding some of the fraud risk assessment form, for the state auditors, I think there should be like, I don't know, maybe like Amanda is our portfolio holder, and then like maybe Derek, and then with Tammy being the financial person, that they could kind of go through this, and they would be able to maybe fill out the fraud risk assessment, together. As the state is aware, this is a small office, and sometimes, people are gone on vacations. Sometimes there's only one person working in that office. So it's really hard to follow, some of what they'd like to see as a policy. So we have to work through those things. But I don't know if you guys have had a chance to read the fraud policy for the city of Lincoln. But if we could, either get it approved, or if you guys want to read it and bring it back to the next council, but, these are all things that need to be done and updated.
And is that something that we should have the attorney looking at prior to any approval anyways?
The fraud policy is part of the new personal policy manual and employee handbook that HR's collaborative is looking at. I'd just like to say that this is our old manual.
And this is their new one.
This is their new one.
And it's all stuff from the state auditor, what they would like to see,
So, yeah, they have been noted on all of the audits that they had, that no fraud risk assessment had been done. And then it was noted on all those years from 16 to 21, because obviously they were all done at one time, so there was no risk assessment done. And they like to see a committee do it, so you have people from different areas of the city, so that's why I said, we thought Amanda since you have done the office, and we thought Derek, because you've done both public works and PD. That kind of covers all of our bases of me in the office. The example sheet is just kind of give you ideas of what do they look for you to have documented, looked at and researched for what could be possible alerts. You also got to use your detective hats of how would you defraud the city? How would you, get money from them, and how, they told us you got to think like that, so we can.
Think like criminal.
Yes, to look at the other side of it, to how would you protect the city from something like that to happen, that happening. So if you guys want to look at it, obviously you're gonna have questions for how we take money, how we deposit money, how we process that, put it into the system. All those steps.
We've already made a lot of those changes. We made them 2 years ago. We went through that with them.
And updated a lot of our programs too.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. Like for the deposits that go in, like from utility billing, our front desk clerk, she does them, she counts the money, she does the deposit slip, somebody else comes along and verifies that. I mean, there's already been a lot of things that have been in place. Now we just need to get it all in writing.
And I suspect some of the issue comes when you've got audits for multiple periods, where those are repeat findings because they haven't been done for a number of series. So nor taking care of it.
And the fraud awareness risk assessment is a biennial. Why can't I say that word?
Biennial.
Thank you. Project, as long as you have it on there, then it's good for that time period. They don't ask you to do it again.
Do they ask for community input as far as that committee or that?
They ask for just a committee of people that can, put on their detective head, heads. I figure for this first time, it's the first time we're doing one. where we could. Hash it out if they tell us it's not good enough when they come around and say, Matt, you need to put a little more into it.
Okay.
If we're not good thieves.
Okay, so Councilwoman Davis and Councilman Bjornstead.
I'm open to it.
Yep, I'm down. Do you have a date that you would?
Well, I'm in Florida, so don't message me. No, sometime in January, I think it would be just a touch base. I mean, you guys can fill out your stuff as you come up or you think of ideas. I can do the same. I don't, we can then, just probably do it in one meeting, put it together. Then I can type it up and we'll have it for the audit. So
So then can we hold off on the policy approval?
the fraud policy, they want you to have in standing, and being that it's the end of the year, I think it would be best to, because it's not one that you're it's not like a resolution or an ordinance, it's an office policy of how you detect and view and would handle fraud in your areas.
I had looked through it previously, I guess I didn't notice anything that stood out to me as kind of cause of concern or maybe.
And I have read both sides. Any concerns, Shoemaker? No? All right, so is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the fraud policy for City of Lincoln.
And so we have a first by Councilwoman Davis. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Bjornstead. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And if we could get the roll call?
Ernstine,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
and Shoemaker.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Behind all of that stuff, there are some, obviously, the North Dakota Secretary of State is the 25-26 campaign finance and disclosures. It's guidance for political subdivisions. You guys may want to follow up with what required reports you have to have in for the city as being a voted in person. It talks about I put in the paperwork for the candidate calendar. If you're going to, we have 2 open positions on council for 2026. If you're going to be on that, running and being on that election, then you would want to follow this and get all of your paperwork in on time. And it's on there that the earliest day to begin circulating petitions, has all the information you need, and you'll have to file those with the city auditor, and then every candidate must file a statement of interest at the same time as his filing his or her petition or certificate of nomination, and then the annual filing of the office holders must file a statement of interest each year by January 31st. So I have all of that in the little packet for you guys to follow up on and get that done. So in 2026, we have 2 council members that will be up. There's 2 park board members.
Just for clarification, these would only need to be filled out if we would be campaigning the candidate, correct?
No, there is one form. I'm sorry, I didn't bring that with. There is one form that all elected officials have to fill out. I can get that for you guys.
Yeah, if you could, I'd appreciate it.
So yeah, there is one that you guys all have to fill out. And then, the next thing I have after that. Would Tammy. So our next papers falls in January for the remainder 2 weeks of your December. Okay, and with Tammy starting in learning everything and taking kind of everything on in January, I would like to discuss what I know you guys are waiting for stepping grade, but she's going to be running the office starting January, because I'm just going to be here on a contract basis, and just doing what I need to do to finish up year's end. which is your quarterly reports for the last 3 months of 2025, getting, things that need to be in the newspaper, all final year-end stuff. But in the meantime, I also have to show her how to do, December statement, so that that can be presented, in January. And along with everything else she does, and then manage, the other couple thousand in the office for now. So I would like to know what you guys, are thinking for her as far as, the new wages going into effect, in January.
One of the things that I had thought about, and talked briefly, when we increase percentage wise, it's hard to go up and then back and up and back with those percentages. So my thought process would be a straight amount every month until that new position comes in. And looking online, you know, they said anywhere from $250 to that $700-800 mark. So I had thought possibly a monthly stipend of say $500 in the interim to go until hiring back. So it's not on that low end because they're taking on the responsibilities.
Honestly, I have no frame of reference for this, so I don't know if I really have much for good input.
I agree. I guess I also don't know what the normal or standard would be. I guess knowing the amount of work there is to be done, I would lean more towards the low to high side of things, because there's a lot of work.
And so what do you think if we chose a percentage and rather than having that percentage? You know, because that's gonna be months. You know, to where that would be a stipend rather than, can we take a look at for all of us to maybe take a look at that and
I'm just saying, you know, she's gonna be gone, and I don't know how you guys are gonna come up with that answer, but, so next week is our last pay for December, and the next pay falls into January, so it, you know.
so if it would become effective January 1, then we would have. Okay.
If we want to let them have to make a decision today, that it can be in effect.
Would there be any issue with back pay for it if it's decided at the next meeting?
That's not happening, that's on you guys,
Say that one more time.
I was just wondering if there'd be any issue with back pay on it, like if we wait and make a decision at the next meeting to still have that pay be effective as of January 1st.
Cause I think your next meeting is January 8th. Is your next council meeting.
And like I said, me taking a look at some of those monthly stipends for extra duties. Again, at 25 to the 7 or 250 to that 700-800 mark in that middle part. I think 250 is a little on the low side. I'm gonna do it, but no way. So
I mean, she has to take over everything.
Would would 580 sound suffice for that? And that's just between from here on, right?
no,
Or is
this
that
would be
throughout
only
the whole?
No, this would be a monthly stipend that would be until that city manager is hired and comes in. So it
So
could
we
be
don't
1
know.
month, it could be 2 months, you know, it could be another 3 months.
Right.
Because again, that's gonna go back to Landis. When they do the stepping grade.
Right.
So we don't necessarily want to adjust salary just to go up and down and you know, have that fluctuate. So, and I think that we can always make those adjustments or readjustments.
Well, we can always go, we don't want to go down, that's for sure.
Just for clarification, if you're, is it looking at changing my title from deputy auditor to finance director when the city manager starts? Or before?
I guess at this point, it's just been discussion, we just haven't made decisions.
So I would rather you consider making that change. The pay period, the way it works for payroll, December 21st starts the payroll for the new rates, their new wages from budget. That's where the increases will go for everyone. It's not really hard to do a retro pay or a back pay. I would rather that you guys do your due diligence in regards to what I'll be taking on and what that's worth. Thank you.
So then I guess, I think we could entertain holding up on this, doing some research. Giving, the possibility of having some information from, and from. Oh, that's one of the things that we need to discuss, the agreements.
I don't know if it was too late to put it on the agenda since it just came out on Tuesday, so. it's on the next agenda.
Okay, well, we do have an agreement with, that they have forwarded over, I did print it out. In here. They have, the scope of services. And the 6 to 8. Identify 6 to 8 comparable municipalities with attributes similar to the city of Lincoln. Population size, proximity to larger communities, and comparable position structure. Research and compile current pay scales for like positions. Review City of Lincoln current posting or position job descriptions and identify like positions in selected communities for comparison. And the office staff, they have listed administrative assistant, clerk of courts, finance director, city manager, city auditor, but that finance director at this point would be finance director / deputy auditor. Public Works Department, and with that would be Public Works Director. And then Police Department would be that police officer, police sergeant, police chief. That analysis, methodology, alternatives in here. They gave information on the company itself. And as was mentioned previously, they gave the deliverable date in March. And then they also allow for some alternatives in where they would include fringe benefits, summary, PowerPoint presentation, in-person presentation, and Zoom or team presentations. Add-on ranges for that ended up being, the base proposal was $8,650 with add-ons for fringe benefits would be $575. $800 for summary PowerPoint presentation. In person, they come and present at $675, or they could do a Teams presentation for $150. So when I had looked at the agreement, I had thought it would be prudent to maybe have them do the Zoom or Teams presentation, having them in person. They're gonna go over this with Deputy Auditor Ehrman in detail, and I suspect then that Councilwoman Davis would be involved in that. So any questions, concerns would maybe be taken care of at that point. But we've been saying for years that we need to actually have is taken care of, transfer or a transition over to that second grade, make sure that we're being competitive with our salaries. So, I don't know, again, the base proposal was $8,650, and the alternative number 4 would be that presentation. So ended up being $8,800. Yeah, do you want to have this discuss? Oh, you brought it up.
You summarize it very well.
Who is the company?
is Gold Mines Consulting. LLC.
Could we get copies of that email?
And should that go through auditor? To forward, or is that something that we would? Attachment wise, send to local council members? I mean, just don't. Maybe we should have that in our signature line. Yeah. As Attorney Rodney does on this. But with that dollar amount, what is council's thought process on? Have the attorney take a look and make sure that this is good or ready for something. But dollar, this is what we would be looking at approval. Because it is over the 7.
I always feel it. Like a better term, it kind of sucks to spend money to find out how you need to spend money. But it is something that the city does need to address with our payroll for all the employees. I'd like a chance to look through it, and obviously we should have a chance to let the attorney look through it. I would say if we can review it and bring it up at the next meeting to see about possible final approval.
And then that would put us then in January maybe to where we find out salary is what they're posted before the city manager. So that would, bring us back another month.
Well, I mean, if Councilmember Shoemaker is gonna be reaching out to them anyway to find out how soon they can have that. I don't think it'd be appropriate for us to make a decision. Having all the information.
And if we can back pay, I think that makes a big difference too, so that we know that we are covering and not just, oh, you're out, you don't choose, we're still covering the basis for the city per se. And for that position.
Yeah, so it's not like somebody would be out taking payroll.
Right. Yeah, it's just a matter of getting that posted for the city manager.
Yeah.
And
Not to say that we couldn't post, we come back and add the dollar amount later if we're looking to start that candidate sooner than later.
But a lot of candidates though, that's their number one question, how much is the pay? So if we don't have that, automatically they're out the door, So we wanna be ahead of the game.
mindful of that part of it. How difficult was it to find an organization that does this specific type of work?
Very close.
If I'm not mistaken, this was the only one you did find.
Yes.
Right.
It's, well, we don't do it, but this firm might do it, but we don't do it, but this firm might do it. So it was a lot of traveling around, not digitally traveling, physically, but it was difficult to find it.
So can I just, is it the dollar amount for review of this, or?
I guess I would like to work through their proposal just to actually see what exactly
What
they're
exactly?
proposing.
Okay.
Since I don't have those details yet.
If we're trying to get it done sooner than later, is special meeting appropriate?
I would be open for that. I'm open for that one too. If people, as soon as you're able to find that information, we could call a special meeting specifically, and that would give us time to
Do our
get our own. Absolutely. And that might give us information then as far as the deputy auditor, what's appropriate.
Sure.
On that end of it too. So as soon as you find something out, let the auditor know. And we'll schedule a special meeting.
Okay.
And the last thing I was just gonna say is just so you know, for the 2026 election, there's 2 council members, 2 clerk members, and a possible judge. The judge is in question. He said he would like to see it on the 2026 election. If nobody runs or whatever, that he would be willing to look at signing.
And just for informational purposes, is that a write-in possibility, or do you have to be a lawyer?
You have to be a lawyer. All I have.
All right, well, seeing nothing else on the agenda, I will call this meeting adjourned at 7:59. Merry Christmas.